Welcome back, Math 2. We're working on page 119. We're going to be working with multiplying radicals. And again, I've committed the ultimate sin and I have my phone with me and not a regular calculator because I'm filming this at the same time as the other adding and subtracting radicals video. So, sorry about that. So, with multiplying radicals, I want you guys to think of it as multiplying things that look alike. Okay, those like terms again. So basically I mean whether it's in a radical or not. So multiplying radicals actually does not involve as much multiplying as you might think, because I can only multiply things that are in a radical together or things that are not in the radical. So I'm not doing all the numbers together all the time. I'm just doing the pieces that can actually go together. And I know it says example here. We're just going to skip that and go into the actual practice. Okay. So let's say our first example here, I have 2 times the square root of 2 square root 6 times the square root of 8. So the only things I can multiply together here are my square root of 6 and my square root of 8. I'm going to multiply them just like regular numbers, but they're going to stay in a radical and become the square root of 48. Now I do want to make sure that I simplify this though, okay? So I guess our basic steps today are to multiply and then to simplify. Alright. So I want to know, okay, what square numbers go into 48? I know 4 would go into 48. Well, let's see if there's something bigger, maybe like 16. Okay, so 16 goes into 48 3 times. So I have 2 square root 16, square root 3. Sorry, I'll leave a little bit of a line here, some room. And the square root of 16 I know is 4. So this is really 2 times 4, square root of 3. So altogether this is going to become 8 square root of 3. Okay. Let's try another one here. I have 3 square root of 5 times the square root of 5. So again, my square root of 5s are going to multiply together. There's nothing to multiply with this 3 right now. So this is going to become 3 square root of 25. Sorry. Alright, and you guys should know that the square root of 25 is 5. It simplifies without having to have something remaining in the radical. So this is going to become 3 times 5, which is 15. And that's why a lot of times having this exact answer is better than a decimal, because now when we had to do something with 3 square root of 5, it led us to a more reasonable answer that you can work with. Alright, let's try this last example up here and then we'll move on to distributing. And I might need to write some of my stuff off to the side here. So I have square root 18x times 6 square root 3x cubed. So now I've got some numbers and some variables. So again, that 6 should still remain on the outside because there's nothing else on the outside of a radical to combine. But I do need to multiply my 18 and my 3 together, which is 54. And you guys should know by now, if I take x times x cubed, that's going to give me x to the 4th. And if I divide 54 by something, I want to simplify it. I think 4 goes into, no, 4 does not go into it. Oh, 9. 54 divides by 9. 9 and 6. Oops. So if I simplify this, I'm going to have 6 square root of 9 square root of 6. And then remember, when it's an x or a variable, you just want to break it into as many x squareds as you can. And this one will just give me 2 even x squareds, nice and easy. If it was x to the 5th, for example, I'd have x squared, and then another x in a square root. So you just want to make sure all your exponents add up to the exponent you started with. Alright, 9 has a square root, it's 3. So sorry, I'm going to put my next work up here. So I have my original 6. 9 becomes a 3. Then I have square root of 6 doesn't simplify, but these two are both going to become x. I'm going to put them on the outside, and then I still have my square root of 6 left over. So then if I multiply all of this back together, I get 18x squared times the square root of 6. Alright, let's try a couple with distributing. Alright, so with this distributing, the reason we have to distribute and we can't just multiply right away is because inside my parentheses I have some addition going on here. And so I want to take what my term on the outside and distribute it in and multiply it by both pieces, and then I may still have to do some simplification or adding to finish solving it. Okay. So I'm going to distribute my 2 square root 5 times square root 8. Only the 5 and the 8 are going to combine, so that'll stay 2, but then square root of 40. But then this second one, I'll have 2 times 3, which is 6, but because there's a square root of 5, there still needs to be a square root of 5 on the outside. Okay. Alright, now we know a 5 won't reduce anymore, but let's do a 40. So I know 40 is divisible by 4. So I'm going to write this as 2 square root 4 square root 10 plus 6 square root 5. So if you've noticed any patterns yet while we're simplifying, so 5 doesn't reduce, but 10 also doesn't really reduce anymore either. So if I simplify this, I'll have 2 times 2 square root of 10 plus 6 square root of 5. So I should know by now that I'll still have addition in my final answer. I won't be able to simplify the addition, but I'm going to make this as simplified as I possibly can. So I should end up with 4 square root of 10 plus 6 square root of 5. And my last one, throwing some variables in there as well. Alright, so everything on the outside is going to get distributed to the inside. My first term does not have any radicals. My first term in the parentheses, sorry. So when I multiply, I'm just multiplying this negative 2 by 2x, but I do need to attach that radical on the end as if it were a variable. So negative 2 times 2 makes 4, or negative 4, sorry. And then I need that x, and then in my radical I'll have 3x. The second one, though, I've got a negative 2 times a positive, so this is still going to be negative 2. And in my square root, I'll have 3 times 6, which is 18, and then x times x, which is x squared. When I look at my first term here, I'm pretty confident that 3x is not going to reduce anymore. But this one, 18x squared, I know 18 is divisible by 9, which has a square root. So I'm going to bring down my first term. And then I'll still have my negative 2, and I'm going to make this square root of 9, square root of 2. I also should know that x squared can simplify. So my first term, again, is going to stay the same, negative 4x, square root of 3x. But then I'll have minus 2 times 3 times x, if I bring the simplified x forward. And then I'll have my square root of 2. So my last step, I just want to simplify this piece back together because I will not be able to combine these terms because I'll have a square root of 2 and a square root of 3x, which are not like terms. They're not alike. So I'll still have my negative 4x, square root 3x, and then negative 2 times 3 is negative 6, so minus 6x, square root of 2. And that will be my final answer.